Hi everybody. So I had a video request on to show you briefly how I do my Pisanki. I'm going to do a little bit of an easier version of this and show you how this is done. So the first thing that I would do with an egg like this one right here is I would do a basic division of everything. I use a pencil. The pencil doesn't come through at all in the Pisanka. You just do a light pencil, just acting as guiding lines for where you put the wax. So the wax goes on the egg, and whatever the wax touches right now, it's going to remain white. And I just simply put the kiska tip down and move it. And as I move it, a black line of wax forms. The lathes are nice tools, but they're not good for doing diagonal work. So you have to do the diagonal work by hand. I do this during Lent, but I use it as a time to be quiet, to focus in on something, to do something that requires my attention. And so during Lent, I do that. I'll often think about people and pray for people as I do this. Because essentially most of these eggs I give away. I don't keep a number of. Well, I keep some, but essentially I keep them for my kids. So one day they'll have them. I joke that one day I'll be gone, but at least you'll have all these eggs around. So blue, red, and black will be the final colors for this. Oh, and sorry, and an orange. I need to do orange for the wheat. So let's do that next. This particular die set I have here, I have 17 different dies, and going from light colors to dark colors. And there is a series that you're supposed to do with this because they're building on top of each other. Where's pumpkin? Pumpkin is right here. Pumpkin is just a little slightly darker orange. All right, same process. This time it doesn't take as long because you're just filling in spaces now. So the white tends to take a little bit longer because you're actually doing basic outline. Let's do some orange dots here. And, with something with the symbolism, dots usually kind of represent, especially in threes, represent the Trinity. So wind, scrolls often kind of represent the spirit. I think it's one of the reasons I've liked this windmill one, the idea of the Holy Spirit in our life should be like the wind to a windmill. All right, so good. Orange is done. After I do this, then I'll move to red, and I'll put the red elements on. And then I go to black, and the black will be the final color. Of course, the colors have symbolism associated with it as well. Blue has a lot to do with, of course, the sky, and but blue also has a lot to do with trust and fidelity. Red obviously has a lot to do with passion, both of love, but then also the passion of Christ, which a lot of the imagery in Pisanka do represent because of that. You can even see the cross element that's here on the windmill. So incorporating crosses is quite common in Pisanki work. So here we go. We're almost done with the blue. So you can see it's moving quite quickly. Well, I've sped this video up a little bit. This is actually not taking too long to do. So once again, blue in those areas. Blue in any other place? No. So the red has got probably the biggest part in this. These entire windmill sections right here will be red. So once again, for it to remain red, you have to cover it. So once again, I was talking about the colors. Red has a lot to do with the passion. As you will see in this will be a windmill. which connects everything I had mentioned earlier about the windmill and about how our lives should work in cooperation with the Holy Spirit, like a windmill works in cooperation with the wind. But at the center of this windmill, is the red cross of Christ. And so for us to work with the Holy Spirit in our life, the way that a windmill works with wind, we should have the cross of Christ central in our lives as well. There we go. So the last color that we'll put this in is black. Now, everything that you've seen so far of the Pisanki, we've been putting beeswax on. It's becoming darker and darker and darker as we proceed through this. And I think a lot of that connects also with some of the symbolism that I really like about Pisanki. So I'll kind of put that over there and let that continue. But, we start making a Pisanki with a completely white egg. And I often kind of think of this as the soul after baptism. We're completely pure, we're completely white, we're born into the church, we're incorporated into the church. But then as we begin our life, we begin to undergo trials, and we have things that encourage, we encounter in life that could potentially scar us or hurt us or shape us in some ways. And so essentially the heat of life kind of comes in and starts to scar the egg and starts to kind of put this wax on the egg. And as it ages, it starts adding, more and more colors. It goes through more and more different trials and things until the very end. You end up kind of with like this, just this mess, just this black blob. And it's not until we surrender ourselves back to the love and mercy of Christ. What we'll do now is, now that it's black, or mostly black, we're going to drill a hole in it. All right, so drill just enough to get it through. And I'm going to do this here, even though it's probably going to be messy. We'll just get this little cup over here. There we go. And I have this tool right here. This tool is an egg blower. And so I put the egg blower in here, and I blow. Oh, that was nice. All right. So when we empty ourselves, and sometimes it can be messy when we empty ourselves, we put that over there, and I will clean up that right there. We are left with an emptiness, but then we have to come and submit ourselves to the love and mercy of Christ. And so I will do that by bringing a candle into it. The love of Christ is often represented by a flame. All right, and we put let me get a cloth here. We place the Pisanki in, or just over the candle. It will heat the egg. You'll start to notice the wax melting. The shell also will get hot. It does become quite hot to the fingers fairly quickly. With the yolk gone from the middle of the egg, it does heat very quickly. As you can see, it's melting around, and that does get hot right there. We move the fire out of the way so we don't catch anything on fire, and then we wipe. And when we start to wipe, the wax comes away, and what is left is the colors that are left. And so what I was saying earlier with the trials of life, kind of marking the egg, when we submit ourselves to the light of Christ and the love and mercy of Christ, he removes our sin from us. But we've learned quite a lot, and from that in our life, and Christ beautifies our life, even in our dark areas, and by he's glorified in those areas. And so the bright colors of the egg, there's a little bit of wax still left on that. Let me just remove that. So the bright colors that are left on the egg represent God using even the areas of our life that are dark for his glory. And so there we have it.